Welcome to Cyborg 86. If you're wondering which one of these Jiabaile 136 crawlers to get, maybe this video will help you a little. We'll drive them a little bit and put them in some stressful situations, and then take them back to the shop to do some tumble tests. I'll try to follow the same lines as much as possible, but I won't get it spot on. Anyway, this first one did introduce some stress that I wasn't expecting on the little monster truck. I'll show you here in a second. Here the Jeep clone gets high-centered and needs a little help. Notice here that the front left fender will scrape against that rock and get hung up, but then it'll push on through. With this high clearance, I was expecting maybe it would clear this obstacle. The Jeep didn't, but it got hung up too. And then when I gave it a little helping hand, those open wheels sticking out so far, one of them got hung up in that little crack there where the Jeep's fender got, and that bound up the wheel. I didn't want to push it. Here's the most stressful line I'll take today. Need to do some seesawing back and forth using the steering. I'll go ahead and back up on both of these. And I just want to see how the steering does. And I got just a little bit of a brownout here on the Jeep. And by brownout, I mean when I went to turn it, it kind of seized up for a little bit. I think the servo is the same on both of these rigs, so keep in mind they're turning some big wheels on the little monster truck. We'll take the same path here for the monster truck. And it's going to give me more brownouts. It's going to give me like 3 of them. One here, and here, and here. It's hard to tell in the video, but I could sure tell it when I was giving it input and it wasn't responding. Not a huge deal, but I just wanted to show you and let you know. On this path here, the truck's going to do a little bit better. Those big wheels and higher clearance help it pick its way better through these rocks. Just a little easier. Still has to work at it, but you'll see when the Jeep clone goes. The approach angle on the truck is definitely better, as is the rear bumper coming down. Now here's an example where the little monster truck is going to shine. Kind of a challenge here. I was trying to crawl it first. Couldn't get much traction because of the dust there. But a little bump and it's up and over. But with the Jeep clone, gonna give me some trouble. It hung up a little bit on the spare tire, but even then when I cleared it, having trouble getting up and now no room to bump it. But we'll try. Yep. We'll give it the finger of God and move it on up. By the way, the spare tire came loose from the factory, so I can spin it on the back there. Might want to check that if you get one. Let's try a Sidehill now. I'm trying to start them both in the same spot. Truck has a little trouble getting started. I started facing the nose up and then transitioned to the Sidehill. This rock is fairly slick, and both of them will spin their tires on this. And I almost started in the same spot, but not quite. But I took mostly the same path here. The smaller wheels on the Jeep definitely are more susceptible to those little nubs and pockets that are in this rock. Next, we're going to try a controlled descent. This rock gets steeper as it goes down. And I just want to see how slow I can crawl it down the hill. I don't think the electronics have any drag braking action in them. It relies on the gears and the little gearbox that's in there. And with those big wheels, the monster truck really struggles in this little test. I did this one twice on each vehicle just to confirm. All the way down, I'm giving it just enough throttle to keep it moving. The truck kept rolling even when I let off. One more time on the Sidehill here. The wider stance on the truck sure ought to keep it from rolling. But the bigger tires I think don't grip as well and it's wanting to slip down. We'll see that here with the Jeep clone. And while it's not slipping as much, the front left just lifted there. It's definitely wanting to tip. Actually, check it out. It was both left wheels. I had just placed this little Jeep here by hand and let it sit, and then I started driving up this new path. And when I get to the top, I high center. But now I'm trying to place the truck, and the truck's brake doesn't want to hold it because of the gears, the bigger wheels. I finally got it to settle down, and up we go here. But since I had just driven the Jeep up, I was expecting to high center, and I drove it right over. This seems like a good spot to demonstrate the clearance on the little truck. Here, all four wheels are touching the rock there. But when I put the Jeep clone up there, it's definitely sitting on the frame. Wheels are touching, but there's not much travel there. All right, let's take a look at driving them on the pea gravel. I've seen a video where somebody was driving this truck on really soft dirt, and it was doing okay. It would get buried a little bit, but then he was able to back out. Real good video. But the Jeep, I'm confident, would not do very well on real soft dirt. It's just a matter of the contact patch, and the truck would probably float right over real soft dirt, where the Jeep's going to want to cut in, just because of the tire size. Let's do a quick turning radius test here. I was wondering what effect those big tires would have. The monster truck also has different axles, wider I presume. If you go look at bestbuyboxes.com, you can see what parts are the same and what parts are different, because you can get replacement parts for these. So I tried to line them up right in the same spot, crank the wheel all the way, and then hit the gas. And I put that stick there to see. So let's see how this Jeep does compared to the truck. And it turned just a little bit, maybe half the width of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and do it both directions, in case they're not centered exactly. I haven't touched the radio between these. Also, they're still set on the high rating, but I'm trying to crawl them slow so they don't push or have an effect from the speed. After this, we'll take them back to the shop and do some tumble tests, and then maybe we'll do a little summary and discuss the pros and cons of each one. I would expect by now, though, you're getting a pretty good idea of how they each perform and what the pros and cons are at this point. But there's a little more to discuss. And this time the truck turned slightly tighter, so really not a big difference between the two. There could be any number of variables out there affecting that too. Now we're back in the shop, and Miles is there officiating, checking to see which one of these tumbles over backwards first. The truck kept wanting to roll down, so I clamped a little tool on there just to hold the back wheels on both of them. Hopefully. Think you get the idea here. It still wanted to roll off, but quite a big difference. All right, next up we'll do the Sidehill. Sorry, Miles. I'm expecting the truck to do a lot better, so I'm putting it on top. And one more time here from the other side. So, which one would I get? Well, obviously both of them. They're not very expensive. Somewhere between $55 and $60 I've seen them for here in the US on Amazon. They both look great, and they both offer their own unique experience. I think the Jeep clone is a little easier on the electronics, specifically the servo, and it'll probably handle little tight spaces a little better. The monster truck definitely offers more clearance and adds more stability. And in my opinion, that body looks so much cooler. I really like the truck body. Though even there, the bodies can be swapped out. I've seen people put a toy body on there. And if you have a 3D printer or know someone who has one, you could print up this little K5, for example. So obviously I'm not going to tell you which one to buy, if any at all. Just trying to give you an idea here of what to expect. And if you do make a decision, hopefully this is helpful. And if this didn't answer all your questions, maybe you can come join us at the Jiabaile 136 RC Crawlers Facebook group. You'll get a lot of different perspectives from a lot of different folks. And happy crawling.
I'll think it over. Are you sure there ain't more?